Hey, everybody. This episode we have on our favorite guest, Harland Williams. He fucking rules, but we have a special thing that we put out, which is where me and Ian watched Rocketman, and that's on the Patreon. And then with Harland today, we talk all about Rocketman. We get into the nitty gritty of the movie. It's an incredible film. There's so many little secret Easter eggs that you'll find when you watch it, and you'll find when you talk to Harland. It's such a fun episode. Me and Ian are on the road all the time at Punch Up. You can find my dates at jordanpunchup.live/Jordan Jensen. No. Oh.
I'm coming all over. Huntsville, Alabama, Phoenix, Arizona, Philadelphia, Rochester, all over Fidance.com. Bye.
Telling jokes and having smokes, riding bikes all through the night. It's a wild ride when you're being Ian. Coffee ice no matter what. Now you know he likes it in the butt. It's a wild ride when you're being Ian, being Ian. And life is shit but you're positive. Let's find out what it's like to live a life being Ian
with Jordan.
What's this all about?
Oh, that's just one of our weapons. This is really the main weapon we use.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You've done that to yourself?
I've done the purple one. I won't do the black one.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, in case anyone comes down here.
That'll zap your... Whoa.
What?
It's crazy that Coyote's not afraid of that. She's afraid of if you make a fart noise with your mouth, but she's...
Yeah, isn't that strange? Her dog doesn't like fart noises.
I might have had a little bit of a good time with her when I first got her, maybe.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Jordan adopted her when she was particularly gassy.
It's true.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Coyote.
Cody, I like that.
Wild. She was at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her.
Yeah. Same
yeah.
one. In the flesh. Hold
gotta
this to your
come back.
mouth.
Oh, we're on?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
I
Sorry.
want to come back.
Yeah, you got to come back.
I don't have any plans to go to LA for some reason.
When you do come back on the show. It was a
Okay.
blast.
Yeah, your show is the best. You had Nick Mullen on. That looked really fun.
Yeah, do you know Nick?
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, that was great.
Wildcat.
Yeah.
Straight out of hell.
Oh, you getting that belly?
Wildcat from hell.
Harlan is allergic to cats, so when we walked in, Glenn was in his little perch, and he wanted to be touched so bad, so he was like,
He was going porn mode.
and
Yeah.
I covered him so that Harlan wouldn't get any cat stuff on him.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then you got the cat on you, and now you're here.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't touch cats.
Too itchy?
My ankles puff up. My glands. Ankles go and my thyroids.
Your glankles.
My glankles and my
Only your ankles swell.
my ankles puff. Yeah. They actually almost like a Dairy Queen sundae. They drip over my sides of my shoes.
Ew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm melting
You go
almost.
full David Lucas?
Yeah, they like
Like
power
a
puff almost.
Like a heavy lady walking around Disney World.
Yeah, pretty much.
They get swollen and red.
Did you hear my David Lucas joke?
I did.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Yes.
Wild. Yeah. So cats, and then it's hard to speak.
Yeah,
My chest gets tight, really tight. And
but not here? Not before when you did this podcast? You were fine?
well, I didn't touch the cats.
Oh, if you
It's only
touch
if
the
he
cat.
touches
Wait,
them.
if
Like
you pet
touch
a cat, ankles swell up.
They just puff. They like just
It
power
doesn't.
swell.
The cat doesn't need to rub your ankles.
No,
You
if
can
I just touch it, it's
What?
like whatever
It goes
they
straight to
have
your
goes
ankle.
into my bloodstream, and
I can't touch cats. It
puffs
goes
my
right to
ankles.
my ankle.
yeah,
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
puff.
Wow.
It's like I'm hydrofoil almost.
Yeah,
What
I
is
can
that?
almost slide.
yeah.
It's
What's
like
a
those
hydrofoil?
boats that sit on the water and they ride up on a cushion of air.
Oh.
My
Pontoon
ankles
boat?
almost puff up so big I could almost glide down the street like Gumby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool if you have to go somewhere quickly. Just puff up and go.
Yeah, but I can't tell anyone
Puff and
because
go.
my chest's so tight I can
Yeah.
barely
The
talk.
death thing.
And I
makes it-
salivate. I'm like Cujo. You ever see Cujo on
Oh, the
the
dog.
dog? So
Yes.
it's just like dripping and
Yeah.
eyes. It looks like mustard coming out of my eyes. Like it's just like
That's what Ian looks like when he's around a fat ass.
is it like a
Yeah.
fat roast beef?
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
Ooga.
lady love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lady lumps. Do you have a pet name for an arse? Like, do you have a
Ooh.
bedroom name? That
Yes.
you call it?
Jumper?
I call it dinner.
Dinner.
A
Wow.
dump roast?
Yes.
What do you
Nice.
call it, Jordan?
I call it big old pooper, big dumper.
No, in the bedroom, like for intimate time, not for camping.
Pooper, dumper.
That's camping
place
time.
where poop goes.
That's camping. Well,
Y-
I'm talking
poop
fun
ejector.
time. When you're in like your bedroom, there's a handsome fella.
And you're
Yeah.
doing
He's-
squishy goo goo.
I go get your poop particles away from my bed.
What? There's
Yeah.
no intimate.
You know,
like,
one time I did
I
anal
go-
with a guy, and he pulled his penis out, and I dragged him into the shower by his penis and showered him.
oh, wow.
So I don't like poop stuff.
Okay.
Or
no
butt
more,
stuff.
No more.
Isn't that more on you than on him?
He didn't do anything. But as
Yeah,
soon as
but-
it came out, I realized that his penis was going to touch my bed, so I dragged him by the penis.
Yeah,
into
but
the
if you had a
shower.
clean ass, that wouldn't happen.
I don't know how to clean my ass.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, but I didn't even check to see if it was dirty.
You,
I just
you
pulled
do an
it.
enema.
I'm not doing an enema. I'm not a gay man.
By the way, I love her music. Is she from New Zealand?
This episode is sponsored by Pure Moods. Shout out Emma.
Okay, so how long are you here?
I leave tomorrow. I'm just here for tonight.
How was the journey?
It was good.
Did you do Delta 1?
Delta 1.
Where you got to sleep on the way here?
No.
No. Was it a long trip? Did you get
It was
turbulence?
a pretty good. We only crashed twice, so I'm
That's
like,
pretty good.
yeah.
That's
As long as I
really
get
good.
here in the end,
Yeah.
like 2 crashes is good,
Yeah.
and one was near a Dairy Queen.
Oh, great.
So we crashed. You ever hear the term crash and roll?
yeah.
So I crashed, rolled for about 2.5
Inflated
miles.
the ankles, saved the flight.
Yeah, the ankles are like
Lowered
airbags.
the ankles down.
Yeah, it's
and
like
it-
when that thing bounces on Mars.
Yes.
But I rolled 2.5 miles to a Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Got a peanut butter parfait and got back on the plane, and we made it right into LaGuardia.
Great.
Yeah. How do you say it?
LaGuardish.
LaGuardish. Ish. If the Amish fly, everything's ish. Going to
Here, blow
LaGuardia.
this. Let's start.
Oh,
Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of B and Ian with Jordan. We're so happy you're here. Patreon.com/B&Ian
Is your
pod.
movie out? Coyote's teeth are showing. Everybody look.
whoa, Powerpuff Girl.
Do you see?
Oh, why is she smiling like that?
Oh, I think she's angry about that stuff in the bedroom she was talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's angry
You
to
see?
hear about what a dirty mistress Jordan is.
Yeah, she was talking like that. No, Ian.
She doesn't like fart noises.
Your horn is very William Golding, Lord of the Flies.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
It
Yes.
reminded
It's
me of
Lord of the Flies. Enough of
reminded
this
me of
Jewish
Piggy
stuff.
up on the rock just before they cast him into the sea and his brains spilled out all over the
Yeah,
ocean.
that's right.
Yeah.
What do you
Ugh.
think about Pig Pig as a name for a special?
Pig Bag?
Yeah.
Like a comedy special or
Yeah.
an eating special?
Well, both with me.
I think why not? And it's your special, so you should call it whatever you want.
I got a lot of different names.
Why
Whatever.
double pig though?
Because I say Pig Pig.
You do?
Yeah.
In what context?
Talking about a
Thank you.
pig pig. Talking about one pig, I say Pig Pig.
Pig pig.
It's a pig pig and there's a wild pig.
Huh.
So you should call it Wild Pig.
Why do you double it up though?
I'm not sure.
Do you say cow cow?
No, just Pig Pig. I just like the way it comes out. Pig Pig. Pig
Huh.
Pig. I'm saying Pig Pig isn't like cute pig, like a little pig pig.
It's
Versus an
almost
outdoor
like you
pig.
stutter full words.
That's right. That's
Like
right.
most stutters. Yeah. He's a full word stutterer.
Yeah.
Most stutters just do a letter like pig,
Right.
Yeah.
but she's pig pig.
We're
Yeah.
going to go to the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, it won't even be. It'd just be museum.
We're
Museum.
gonna go to the museum.
Yeah, it's clean. It's
Mm.
like a clean.
Clean stuff.
Call it Clean Pig.
Pretty good. Hey, Coyote, can you come back out here? We
Wait.
won't fart on you.
Are you reveling a bit too much?
I like to revel.
He goes
I
a
know, but
little
that
bit
was
down.
one of the longest revels. Like
It was.
we didn't even barely acknowledge
in
it,
it.
and
He
about
sits in
40
it.
seconds, you were still like,
He
I'm
hears-
going for the
he
Guinness Book of
hears
World Records for
imaginary applause.
revelry.
that was a long reveling in your own.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure it's a compliment, guy. Like it was almost selfish, is what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. See, we're trying to do a podcast here, and you just stole
Yeah,
45 seconds with this.
yeah.
That we want that back. By
All
the
right.
way.
Well, I'll give it back. I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't finished.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't
Sorry.
finished. We want that back. By the way, we want that back. By the way,
All right. I'll give it.
We watched Rocket Man. Did you hit your balls?
I will. I will.
We
You
haven't
don't
introduced
smart
him, but if you don't know, our guest today is Harland Williams.
Hello. I am Harland Williams. I can confirm that.
Harlan,
and
what's your middle name?
I was just going to ask what his middle
Jeffrey?
name was.
Let us
I
guess.
swear to God,
Oh.
I was just going to ask what your middle name was.
That's why you guys are symbiotic and should do a podcast together.
We should.
There's
I
a
was
flow.
thinking we
We should
should.
call it Jordan
Jordan. Welcome back to Jordan.
or Pig Pig. What is
Or-
your middle name start with letter?
Oh, you think you're going to guess it?
Yeah, you give me the letter.
How confident are you that you think you'll guess my
Within
middle
3
name?
tries.
Winthrop.
I can guarantee you won't guess it, either one of you.
Give us the first
Really?
letter
And
of
I'll
the
give
name.
you some good hints.
All
Okay.
right.
First letter's R.
How many syllables?
I don't know syllables, but there's one behind you. You can hit it if you want. Yeah. I'd say one syllable.
Ready? Roland.
Ray.
No. You're not going to guess it.
Ramon.
No.
Is it foreign?
No, but you've never heard it before.
Rib.
Run muck.
Rib.
No. No.
Ribbit.
Rock. Rock.
Rivet.
Ribbit.
Is it one
I wish
syllabus?
it was rivet.
Is it one
Because I
syllabus?
sleep on a lily pad, so that would be actually apropos. Apropos.
Is it rag?
Rag.
Is it one syllabus or
Sup-
2 syllabus?
He's
I'm
not a
Greek.
professor.
I don't talk Greeky talk.
Is it-
Syllabus. No. What is a syllable? Just to remind me.
A syllable.
Jordan is Jordan. 2 syllabus.
It might be 2.
Okay. Rigor.
Oh, that's close. It sounds a bit like that.
Ritter.
No, you still won't guess it, but it sounds a little like that.
Ribber.
Randy.
No.
Rittner.
Randall.
Rit. River.
Written.
Is it river?
What about I give you a hint?
Okay.
E.T. liked these.
Skittles.
Reese's. Reese.
Reese's.
Reese.
Reeser. Reeser.
You got
Reeser?
it. Reeser.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
What does Reeser mean? That's a cool middle
That
name.
is not your middle name.
It is.
It is not
Harlan-
Reeser. Come on.
Harlan Reeser?
It's Revel.
Wilson.
Harlan Revel Wilson.
You got it.
What is Reeser? Whose
It's
name
an
is
old
that?
family name.
Reeser.
Yeah.
The Reeser the Greaser.
Yeah.
Is it really
Cool.
Reeser?
Reesor. Reesor.
Oh, shit. I just realized something.
What?
I don't know
That's
Ian's
also-
middle name.
I don't know yours.
Wow.
Okay,
the
what's your name
nerve.
start with?
The nerve.
Thomas.
That's it.
Wow.
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 She's
What's yours?
R.
Reeser.
That's right.
Wow. Father?
What's your middle
Grandmother.
name start with?
R.
Renee.
No. Close-ish.
Renault.
You do know it.
Rachel.
It's a hick name if you put it with my first name.
Randy. Jordan Rock. Jordan recipient. Give me another hint.
Is it Italian? Like
One
rigatoni.
syllabus.
Rhea.
One syllabus.
Ree.
Ray.
Yes.
It's Ray?
Yeah.
You got
R-
mine and I got yours.
Yeah.
We should go to
R-A-E?
Arby's.
We should go to Harlan's.
No, Arby's. I
Oh, we
said.
should go to Arby's.
What the name of roast beef disconnect are you having? That was like a full-on roast beef, like short circuit.
Let's go to Arby's. Ian, you can't go.
But now I
Thomas.
want to go to Harlan's. Like you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Sounds
How do you
good.
spell Ray? R-A-E?
Yeah.
Wow. Jordan Ray Constantini. That's hot.
Cosentini.
Cosentini.
So
Yeah,
it is
Jensen.
Italian.
I do have half Italian.
Because I said rigatoni.
Close.
Huh.
Do you have an Irish bone in your body?
0.
Easy.
Would you want one?
I put a lot of Irish bones in there. Nice.
You got to revel in that one for
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah. Not too long. Right about there. And cut.
Are you? You're not Irish.
Stop. You went back and you re-reveled.
Yeah.
I'm just
said cut
revving
and
up.
You dipped back in, bro. Dude, you are really
I can't
off with your reveling.
I know.
You're like a revel without a cause over there. God. Unbelievable.
He revels a lot. I'm glad you're here to see it.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
SARS. God. Came for a podcast and left with a terminal disease. God.
Hello?
That's
What?
a shoe, not a phone.
Yes?
Hello, Chief.
The results are in. I'm negative for SARS.
That's
By the
good.
way, I don't have
COVID.
SARS.
What about-
COVID? Oh crap! I have COVID.
Have
you-
cigarettes? He smokes cigs.
Have you
I
seen?
know.
There's
Yeah.
there's a really funny video of this guy leaving a voicemail, and he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I just left the hospital and I
Everybody's
tested
seen it.
positive for Indian COVID, and they said that it will last 2 weeks."
Wow. Wow. I love it.
That's why I say wow to Coyote when I walk in the house. It's Harland.
Wow.
Whenever I open the door and Coyote's standing there after hours of not seeing her, I go, wow, look at this. And I do a Harland impression.
You do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
She loves it.
He,
Yeah.
he does?
Yeah. Don't
She.
disarm my genders.
Sorry. You say Harlan to her?
I go, wow. I do Harland. I go, wow.
Why do I say that?
Yeah, all the time. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I do.
Wow.
I think you're right. Yeah,
Wow.
I do. You're right.
Really something. That's what I say.
I do.
Really?
That's one of those things I'm not aware of. But
Really?
now I will be.
It's the best.
Now
Oh, good.
he's going to be in his head every time.
No,
Yeah.
he won't.
But it's okay.
As
If
soon
it's
as he
me,
leaves-
it's me. Who
It's you.
cares?
Mm-hmm.
Be
You know,
proud
you
of
gotta,
it.
You got to wear you.
See,
'cause
she
you're
came
you.
out because I said it. Wow.
You got to just be you.
Got to be you. Oh.
No.
Whoa.
So weird that we just record into these things and we kind of just feel like they're watching us now, but right now they're not at all. You know what I mean?
What?
Like we record into these devices and then later somebody will watch it, but right now we kind of in our heads feel like they're watching because we know they will eventually. But right now it's just us talking to plastic.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's odd.
I'm glad
Yeah.
one of us does because I don't.
Yeah, I get your vibe.
Like if a tsunami hit and just wiped out these cameras, we would just be sitting here looking at them going
Yeah. There'd be
reveling.
No function at
Like
all.
you're reveling at a device.
Yeah.
You're reveling
Mhm.
at just a part. It might as well be a muffler that you're just looking at going.
Fine. I will now turn my revel to you.
That's
Oh.
fine. That seems more appropriate.
All
That
right.
actually
Now
is
that
more
I have your
appropriate.
permission,
Great.
I'll get ready. Oh. Let me think of a line to say it to.
Did I saw that you released the Wingman?
Oh,
Not the movie, but it's happening.
yeah. We haven't. It hasn't been sold yet, but we finished it, and we're doing a sneak screening in Toronto on May 9th.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be the first public screening of the movie.
And what is this?
It's a movie I wrote and directed called Wingman.
And what's it about?
It's about a sort of a demented professional wingman who helps like people get laid or find love or find a partner.
Oh, wow.
And he's sort of an over the top guy who uses really wild techniques, but he gets results. He's actually good at his job. So it's the real world, but the wingman's sort of like Austin Powers, Ace Ventura, over the top.
Oh, that's great.
And these nerds sort of hire him, not realizing what a whack job he is, and they think he's nuts, but he actually gets results with what he does. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's so cool.
Russell Peters is in it. Jamie Kennedy, Kayla Wallace from that new Billy Bob Thornton series, the
Yeah.
Landmen. Or
And I
whatever
take
it's
it
called.
you're the wingman.
I am the wingman.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be. I did it almost because I had no choice.
Really?
It was a lower budget film, and I
Mhm.
sent it to all my high profile comedy
Mm-hmm.
cohorts, and it was just, they couldn't do it because we
Yeah.
didn't have the money to pay them. And so I didn't want to be the wingman because I was directing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that takes all your focus. So I didn't want to be the lead guy.
Yeah.
But
How
I
do you
really
do that? Do you just do something and then you run in front of yourself and
Yeah.
you go, "Hey, redo that, take it." But
yeah,
How do
pretty
you do
much.
it?
It was pretty. It was a lot. It
because
was
the cameras are set up, you can't look behind them. You're acting.
yeah. And the bigger kicker was because we were low budget and under such a time restraint, we didn't have a playback monitor and we didn't have a monitor.
No.
So I never even saw what I did the whole movie.
No.
I'm not
What?
kidding.
Only through the little hole.
I couldn't even see it because I was acting.
So you had an
I had to
assistant
go-
director, right?
Not really. Yeah. It was blind faith. I think it was my years of experience doing movies and
Mhm.
acting and doing comedy. I hope I pulled it off, but that's up to the public to decide. I feel like it went well looking back at it. I also cut the movie.
Yeah.
I edited the movie, so I feel like I did it, but I was just flying by instinct because we just didn't have the budget to.
You're out of here. That's
Yeah.
That's really
That's not
crazy.
true.
That's absolutely
Wait,
true.
so then
Really?
at the
That's
end of the day,
incredible.
you would look
Yeah.
at all of it?
No, I didn't even look at dailies.
What?
I'm not joking.
What do you mean? You filmed the whole thing.
Filmed it.
They
and-
didn't have a little thing that you could open and go,
Nope.
"What do you mean? What did you film
We
it on?
didn't have to-
Disposable cameras?"
No, we filmed it. We got
what, with
lucky.
memories? What are you talking about?
Here's the kicker. We shot it during the strike,
Yeah.
and we shot it in Canada. And the unions in Canada are different than the American ones, so we were allowed to shoot. So cut to all these
They said
high-
you can shoot, but you can't look at
You
it.
can't look, yeah. That's
No
really
looky.
good. That's about right. I love that.
This is Canada.
Yeah.
No
You
sneaky
no
peeky.
peeking. But what happened is, they shoot a ton of stuff in Canada. And so all these high level cameramen, focus pullers, all these the crews, the gear, they'd been sitting dormant for a year and none of these guys had worked.
Yeah.
So now here comes us. It's me, who I'm well known in Canada from what I do in comedy and so forth. And then I got Russell Peters, who's Canadian. So here we are with this low budget movie, but it's me and Russell. So all the top guys who had been out of work for over a year, when they got the script, we got all these amazing camera people. So our
That's
crew
great.
looked like a $20 million
Oh.
crew
Yeah.
with equipment and expertise. And the crew was so talented.
Yeah.
And so we ended up, and my director of photography, who was Canadian, was amazing. And so this little movie where we had very little resources looks,
But it was
like-
just guys going like this with their hands.
yeah. Yeah. Pull the cardboard over.
50
but-
people just really
Yeah.
good.
But it really looks like a bigger movie than what we had. And so we'll see. That's always up to the people.
But that still doesn't explain why you couldn't watch the foot, like plug it into a monitor after it.
Well, on top of not having the equipment to do that, I had no time.
Oh yeah, the time is that's what you told me about when I was at your house.
Yeah.
That was crazy. There's no
I
time.
was, if I wasn't acting, I was directing the other actors. I was looking at lighting, wardrobe, makeup, this,
Oh.
that, the locations, the vehicles, the props, I had to
'Cause
do it
now,
all.
to make movies that just you have to do it so fast.
That's what they do now. That we shot a feature film in 15 days. We shot
Good
the
God.
whole movie
Whoa.
in 15 days, 3 to 4 locations a day.
Oh my god.
So we shot it in a small town. That was the upside. Every location was within about 6 miles
Mm.
and no traffic in a small town. So we had the luxury of being able to, but it was literally stop, go.
So how do you direct while you act?
I have to direct myself in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, my actors were so professional and so off book. They nailed it almost all the time. But if I did see something, I would literally have to say, hey, next time we do it, give me this or bring that down. Or so I had to do, but
because you're like in every scene.
I'm in a lot. I'm in probably over half the movie.
Wow.
And yeah, it was intense, but it was super rewarding. And
you watched it, and it's great.
well, I watched it because I edited it too.
Oh, yeah.
Out of necessity, I had to edit it, and I've watched it like 600 times because I had to cut it. So I feel good about it, but again, it's not what I feel; it's how the public reacts. So I'm hoping they dig it.
Well, you're
you know?
so beloved. I'm sure everyone's going to love it.
I
Well,
wanna
it's
see
not
it.
about being beloved. It's about how did you execute? Because
Right.
you can be Macaulay Culkin and still have a piece of crap movie.
Right.
So
Weird
I
choice of
I
person to
hope-
pick.
Well, because he's so beloved. He was a cute little kid when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Or even like
Yeah.
John Candy was beloved. If
Yeah.
you put him in a poorly executed film, it's
Yeah.
you still love him, but it's like, what was that? So I hope technically the whole thing works, but we'll find out. That's
Wow.
part of the beauty of it, but we'll see.
Me and Jake were just talking about how good Austin Powers was and how
Yeah.
there's nothing close to it
Yeah.
anymore. Like nothing. And how
Yeah.
it holds up so well, and you'll just die
Yeah.
laughing every time you've seen it, even if you have it memorized.
Oh, it's
So I'm
great.
I
excited
still
that
think
it's-
that he danced like this.
He did. He just didn't walk like that.
Oh.
You were walking into places dancing,
Well, that was my spin on it.
but he would.
Yeah, that's it. More of that.
And you were doing the twist into rooms. Yeah.
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 We were talking about the scene when he goes, "That's not my penis pump." And the guy goes, "An Austin Powers book signed, that is my penis pump." And then he's like,
Yeah.
"No, it's not my bag, baby." And it's like a handwritten note that says, "That is in fact my bag, baby."
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
It's good.
Okay. Well, that's what I try to do with Wingman is just take it back to that no holds barred, like focus on funny and not worry about hurting everyone's feelings and just try and be as funny as you can.
Yeah.
You know, like the first line in Wingman is, I sit down in a bar and my client, the guy who hired me, is right across from me. And we're looking at each other and the client goes, "How do I know this is going to work?" And my first line is, "Look, buddy, I'm going to get you laid faster than an olive oil soaked butt plug bouncing down the side of Brokeback Mountain." And it just goes from there. Like that's where it
That's
starts. And so I'm glad you laughed
That's
because, like I said, I haven't shown this movie to anyone yet. So if that's the react, I hope everyone laughs like you guys.
That's the first line.
That's the first line. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's actually not the first line. It's the first line once he's active in with the bar. The first line is actually, I wanted to set the tone immediately. And the first line in the movie, No Word of His Eyes, is my character goes, "I want breasts."
Yes.
And that's the first line. Because I was like, you know what? The second he talks, I want this movie. I want people to know the tone. And it goes from there.
The wingman wants press, or the guy who hires him?
The wingman. So the first scenes of the
Are you
Wingman
ordering
solo.
chicken?
That's what he said, a drive-through. But
Yeah.
it's a close-up of his mouth.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
And you hear the voice, so it sounds like he's doing phone sex.
Right.
You hear the speaker box, but you just see his mouth. It's a tight close-up.
Oh, that's
He's
great.
like, "I want breasts." And then the girl goes, "How do you want them?"
Oh, wow.
And he goes, "Spicy." She goes, "Spicy or regular, bouncy." And then it pulls back and you realize he's at a drive-through chicken
Yeah.
joint. So
That's great.
thanks for
wanna
wrecking
watch
the movie. Son of a damn you Fidance. Well, yeah, Revel and wrecking the
I'm reveling in the wreckage.
yeah.
So that
Yeah.
brings me to ask, what you wrote this, you directed, you starred in it, and that is something that happened with Rocketman in 1997 when that came out.
Right.
Right?
Well, I didn't direct.
You didn't direct it, but you
Rocketman.
wrote it.
Oh, he changed
You
it.
completely took over the script. How did that happen?
So they wrote a script. Actually, you know who wrote it, which is interesting, is Greg Erb and Greg Mason. And Craig Mason is the guy who wrote Chernobyl, and now that series on HBO, the one where the fungus is growing everywhere, the
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
That's good.
So
Wow.
he's the
What?
writer creator, though.
He's
He
Of
huge.
Rocketman.
He wrote Rocketman and his
What?
partner. Yeah, and so
He's like huge. He's like the
huge.
biggest guy
This,
right now.
this was his first project. So Disney came to me with two scripts, George of the Jungle and Rocketman. And George of the Jungle, no offense, I'm just being honest, was one of the worst scripts I ever read. It was horrible. And I think you could kind of tell they were cashing in on an IP, you know?
Wait, the one that Brendan Fraser
Yeah.
starred in?
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be you.
I passed on it, and
You
then
would
they
be
showed,
him? You would be
They
Tarzan?
offered it to me, yeah. I'd be George of the Jungle, yeah.
Wasn't
Which would have been fun. I liked the idea of being George of the Jungle, but again, it was down to the script. I read the script, and there was just nothing there. It
Yeah.
was actually bad. No offense to but I'm just being honest.
Well, it's making fun of monkey. I mean, it's him doing monkey is the funny part, is that he just is being a monkey.
Well,
That's
it was
like pretty
supposed to
much
be
it.
sort of like the comedic version of Tarzan, but it wasn't. It was just that's the script. The story went nowhere. There was no layers. There was no
Oh, okay,
depth.
okay.
It was just like it was like mud.
Yeah.
And again, I apologize, but I'm just keeping it real. And so I didn't want to do that. And then Rocketman came to me, and I said, yeah, this is like, there's a story here. There's an arc. It goes from A to B, and there's so much room. An idiot going into space, there's tons of room for comedy.
Yeah.
So those guys wrote it, and then the Disney liked it, and we were greenlit to go. And then Disney, you know, these guys are always never happy. So then they handed up, they said, we want to hand it off to, there's two writers who wrote the movie The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Yes, I saw that in theaters.
Yeah, which
More
was,
power.
I never saw it, but I think it was a very successful movie.
They
So-
made like
So good.
7 of them.
Yeah, so they handed it to them to do a rewrite, and then again, no offense, they didn't do a great job. I think they were so busy they kind of went, "Yeah, here's our rewrite." You know what I mean? It didn't, at least to me, it didn't feel like there was a lot of time and effort put into it.
Yeah.
And I think Disney felt the same way. And I said, guys, give it back to these guys. Like, it's their first script. Like,
Yeah.
this is a big, I said, please give it back to them. And they did. So they gave it back to Craig and Greg, and then they reworked it again. And then I just said, hey, can I take a pass at it? And Disney sort of knew it was my sensibility because I
Yeah.
was the lead. And they said, yeah. So I did a rewrite on it based on all the stuff that it was already there, and just literally went through every line and said, how would Harland do this? How would Harland do this through his own prism? And so they let me rewrite the whole script twice. And I don't mean rewrite it structurally, but add all the stuff
Just
I
punched
wanted.
everything in.
Punched
it up.
and to a degree rewrote it, because I would take one scene, or I would create a scene that wasn't there, but I didn't restructure the whole journey, the whole skeleton of it. And so that was just a delight, and they loved it. And so off we went, and we shot it. And then even on the day when we were shooting, they were letting me, if I came up with something, if we had time, they'd let me kind of add it in the moment on the day, which was great. It was a great
Wait,
moment.
So
You
what?
know,
Yeah.
wait, let me say this. This is weird. In the movie, this might be too weird, but in the movie, you were the initial programmer of the thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like the idiot going into space. But then in the actual movie, you're just like the actor, but secretly you were the guy who wrote the whole thing. Kind of weird. Meta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're just thinking an actor is just playing this role.
That's true.
You have no
Yeah.
idea that he did the whole thing, but the idiot in the movie is actually the guy
Yeah.
who like programmed it, and he's secretly like actually very
Yeah,
genius.
I didn't get a credit for any of the writing, and I didn't ask for it because I just wanted to do the best, funniest movie I
well, you
could
can
do.
tell the whole way. You're like, there's nobody else would write that but
It's
him.
probably
Yeah.
obvious, but I those guys wrote it, and like I said, I didn't restructure the whole movie.
Yeah.
They wrote that, but I went in and did a lot of moving around.
Stop guzzling chocolate and oysters like it's going to get you hard. It's time to take your sex life seriously and try something that works. Blue Chew is a game changer. They offer chewable tablets that help men achieve stronger, harder, and longer lasting erections. There's no doctor's appointment needed. Just sign up on the website, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll get your prescription in just days. Personal endorsement: Ian can't get hard when he stands up unless he takes a Blue Chew. I've fucked a lot of men with Blue Chews. Pretty much every comic has one in their little side pocket because they're all neurotic. It actually does work. It does work. It makes a stiff, hard cack. Made in the USA and shipped right to your door. Blue Chew gets you on your A game. It gets me on my D game. You know what I'm saying? ASAP. Make your life easier by getting harder and discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners when you use promo code SKA. That's SKA. Just pay $5 in shipping. That's promo code SKA. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. Thanks, Blue Chew, for sponsoring the podcast. Never liked that they make us thank them, but thank you.
So I remember you told me that one of the things that you kind of added was when you go to this sleep study, you have to sleep in complete solitude for 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, in the giant sleep chamber.
Yes.
The pressure chamber.
Yeah. So how did you adjust that? Because initially it was one way. They just wanted to show it. Didn't they just want to show like maybe like one beat of you in there? And then didn't you elongate it?
Yeah, this was emblematic of what I did with every scene. So I'd take a scene and I go, how can I extract comedy out of this moment? So we actually went to NASA and shot there in Houston. And there is this chamber where it's called an anti-gravity chamber, where they actually put you in it, and it's this huge door. It's a 40-foot door, and it's calibrated so perfectly you could push it with your little finger. It weighs like, I don't know how much it weighs, but there's a giant door, and they put you in, then they suck the gravity out of it or something.
Yeah.
Like, I think the guys can float inside. And so what they had is, they had Fred Randall, which was my character. They said, Fred goes into the anti-gravity chamber. They close the door, and there's a little window. There's a porthole window. Cut to the window. Fred pops up and goes, "Mommy."
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, no, this guy's so spacey. He's got I said, if you locked him in a room and it was sort of related to space, he'd be in his element.
Right.
Yeah.
So I said, instead of just that one line, let's put the competing astronaut in the chamber beside him, and he can hear through the wall.
Wow.
And then I said, when Fred gets in there, he'd start singing, he'd start yodeling, he'd do a puppet show.
Yeah.
He would be dancing around. And I said, let's have the guy in the other wall be hearing all this, and it makes him insane. So what went from Mommy turned into like a 5-minute scene of John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith
Yeah.
And
yodeling.
the time would
Yeah,
just go
yeah,
up
yeah.
a little bit each
Yeah.
time. It would seem like so much had passed, and it'd be like 2 minutes
And
later.
then they open, and you're like, "Can you give me a couple more minutes?"
Yeah, can I finish the third act, please?
Yeah.
I was doing sock puppets. By the way, the sock puppets I do was actually a suggestion from my girlfriend at the time. And I was
Really?
like, oh yeah, I just wanted funny. So anybody that threw anything at it, I was like, just that mommy thing felt like I went, what's funny about that?
Yeah.
And also it made him seem like a wuss because he was going mommies. I said, he's not a mommy. He loves this. He's been wired his whole life for space stuff. He would be in heaven. So that little went from one word to, 15 punchlines and physical comedy bits. So that's sort of emblematic of what I did through the whole script.
Yeah,
But
it was
then
incredible.
that actor who was playing the straight man, who was playing then you had to like make him do, because probably the initial script, he was just like a guy. And then you turned it into him like shaking and convulsing on the thing.
Well, in the initial script, there was no guy. There was no competitor.
So
it
he
was
was
just
hired to be
me
funny.
training on my own. And I said, let's get a guy that I'm going against so we can have this comedy where he's like a macho astronaut. And I slowly, in the classic Peter Sellers Pink Panther, where you don't know you're affecting other people. You're just going forward and everyone's falling to the side because you're such an idiot. So let's have it that Fred Randall slowly disassembles this guy and make him a walking wreck by the end of the movie without even knowing it.
And the funniest thing, the one line when you're like, fun is my Chinese neighbor's middle name.
Right.
And then the funniest thing to me is when you're spinning around on the Gravitron and it lets go and it's just so perfect. Then the nuns are taking the kids through and they're like, and the number one important thing at NASA is safety. And you go through the door and then you hit Gary and then you come out and you go, I ran into Gary.
Yeah. Well, that's another perfect example. So that scene with the gyrating thing, that scene was supposed to end with it speeding up and a close on Fred going, I want my mommy.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, you're building this whole thing. They built that on a set.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
I said,
really?
you're building he's going around in a circle and the payoff is I want my mommy. Again, it makes him look like a little wimp.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, let's have him go around, and he loves it. He goes faster, and they're like, and then let's cut to the bolt shaking, and the whole thing flies off. And originally I had it that he flew off. I said, let's have him smash through the wall. He goes down the hall. He goes past the nuns. He hits Gary. He goes out into the parking lot, slides down the street, goes through a drive-through, grabs a bag of food, and keeps going. So they said, we can't do all that, but let's go. Let's do the part where he flies off, goes through the drywall, hits Gary, and then Gary hits the wall.
Yeah.
And that was another thing I added is let's have him keep injuring
Gary.
the other guy so
Yeah.
that now I have to go.
Yeah.
And that was another huge comedic beat. So that was another example of taking I want my mommy to this huge physical bit with, and I love finding that. Like I love sitting down and it's like you guys are comics. So when you write a joke and you go, oh wait, here's another tag.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's another, and the fourth tag's even funnier than the first setup.
Yeah.
Like it's that, and it's so beautiful, and that's the stuff Disney were so gracious enough to say, if Harlan wants to do that, like let's listen
That's
to
incredible.
it. And it was a lot of extra work, but it really was magical.
How did they? What did you do before that made them like trust you?
I did Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And then everyone thought that was sort of the thing that got me kicked off, but into gear.
Yeah.
But I did this follow-up movie called Down Periscope. Where it was a submarine movie.
Oh, and that was
Kelsey
with Kelsey Grammer.
And I improvised this huge scene underground where I had to, in the submarine, I had to make all these whale noises, and I had to walk around the sub and go, when I was doing all this.
Yeah.
And it literally stole the movie. Like it was the funniest.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
huge, and I think all the executives went, next Jim Carrey. And that's what they were saying at the time. So I think they were counting on that and counting on my comedy instincts, and graciously they followed it and let me do all that stuff. And
that's
so
awesome.
yeah, it was really nice. So
That's incredible.
yeah.
How'd you get hooked up with that cameo in Dumb and Dumber?
That was through Jim Carrey. We'd worked together at a few stand-up shows and things like that. And excuse me, he just really liked my stand-up, and I think he liked me, and he asked the Farrellys to see me. And so I went in to read, and the Farrellys ended up giving me that little part. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And then they tapped you again to do that, and there's something about Mary
Something
when you
About
were the
Mary.
hitchhiker.
And they also asked me to be in
was-
Kingpin. They asked me to play Randy Quaid's part, the Amish boy.
Really?
But I was doing a sitcom at the time, so I couldn't do it.
Oh my God.
And then they said, well, this was great. I wish this happened to me now. But they said, pick any other role in the script that you want. I was like,
Wow.
So I said, well, let me do the smaller role, the one that Bill Murray ended up taking, where he was like the asshole bowler.
Yeah. Ernie
and
McCracken.
again, it conflicted with my schedule, so I ended up not being able to. But,
Oh,
but Peter
man.
Farrelly just phoned me at home. My phone rang when he goes, "Hey, Harlan." I go, "Yeah," he goes, "We want you to be in this movie." And I was like, "Okay." It was really cool. It was an exciting time for me because
Yeah.
I was in a place where sort of everybody wanted me and wanted to do a movie with me, which is I realize is rare and a blessing.
Mhm.
And
So
so
fun.
it was exciting. It was an exciting time. Yeah,
That's incredible. Man, yeah, one of my favorite scenes in Rocketman is when you get the okay to go to NASA and you're at the table and again you're like and you step over everyone, you re-injure Gary, and then you make it this huge ordeal, and that was just so, like every beat in that movie. I think it's just such a classic example of what comedy film should be. It's slapstick, it has heart, it's funny, and it's just beat by beat by beat, funny, joke.
Well, I'll tell you how I dissected that scene. Again, it was another sort of flat ending where in the original script,
don't tell me they bring up your mommy
mom,
again.
Well,
what was their obsession with mommy?
I think they just thought it would be a fun running gag, but
Right.
I thought it made the character seem very wimpy.
Right.
Even though he was a wimpy nerd.
And he loves space.
Yeah,
so
I
it doesn't
didn't.
make sense.
Anyone who says mommy, suddenly it's a kid's movie, and I didn't want that. So the line in that one was they announced the third astronaut, and they say astronaut Fred Randall, and Fred faints. And I went, this guy's waited his whole life to this. Where's the funny in fainting?
Yeah.
Like fainting was probably done, if I were to guess, in the first 5 Charlie Chaplin movies, comedies of all time. I bet somewhere he fainted. I go, what's something we haven't seen? So this is an example of on the day we were shooting, and I said to the director, I said, I don't buy it. He faints. There's nothing funny here. So I said, Stuart, give me one take. I'm going to pretend I'm the girls at the Miss America pageant when at the end they scream and their fingers shake and they're putting I said, give me one take. And he goes, okay, I'll give you one take. And I said to the sound guys with the boom, I said, guys, I'm just warning you, stand back. I'm going to do the scream of all screams. We got one take. And I said, let him scream, let him get up. Gary's already injured. As I run to the mics, let me knock him over. He hits his head because he's already got the neck brace on.
Yeah.
And so the director let me do it. I did one take where I just screamed because I knew I only had one, so I just let it go. And that moment made it into the trailer. It was like it's like a
and that's
meme
the
now.
take
It's a
they
GIF.
took on that's the take that they used in the film.
They had to because they only let me do it once. And so we did about 4 takes where I fainted, and I said, please, I know that's not funny. I said, give me one.
Because he's too annoying to faint. Faint would be like a nice, quaint way of leaving the conversation.
Of course he gets up and steps over everyone and knocks Gary out.
For him to get asked to go to Mars is the biggest win of his whole life. And so, of course, he's going to have that Miss America.
Yeah.
And I always thought the Miss America reactions were so like, their fingers are trembling and they're like so. And I thought I just channeled that. I said, I'm going to pretend I'm Miss Hawaii or something.
Yeah.
And
it's so good.
God bless them that they put it in, and it was a beautiful.
That is so cool to believe in yourself enough to go, you know what, I've got this. Just give me one chance, and you nail it, and that becomes the main thing. That's incredible.
It was scary because you got to remember this was my first leading role.
Yeah,
and I'd done a bunch. You know, at this point, I'd only done about I think three or 4 other little parts. So I just went, I'm never coming back here. I got to go for it.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. And even there's a moment too when we're up in the spaceship where I'm with Julie, the beautiful female astronaut. And there was a moment in the spaceship where I did something stupid again, where it was like a mummy thing or whatever. And in the next scene, she's in love with me. And I said, guys, she wouldn't be. She's too smart. She's an astronaut. She's not
You
going to.
put it the singing. That was your idea. Was the singing?
That was my that one I did on the day.
Oh, wait.
When
He's got the whole world.
No.
When
I
you
wish
wish upon a star.
Oh, right.
I said to the director, I said, we have to have a moment where we see her fall in love because
that's insane that you were like, and my idea is he'll be singing into space and she will fall in love.
Yeah.
And she just looks at him and it's like, yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the singing. It was, I said, I need something that connects them. And I said randomly, I go, we're just sitting there and I go, look out there. You see that star out there? That's my star. I used to wish on it as a little boy. And she goes, wait. That was my star too. And And then I said, let me sing When You Wish Up, because Disney owned the song. And I said, let me
That's
sing
sick.
When
Wow.
You Wish Upon a Starter. And let's see her fall in love with him, because he's such a klutz. He's pretty much ruining the mission. She's a brilliant. I said, she's too smart. I said, let us have a moment where she can fall in love with him. And so I literally wrote that on the day before we shot. And again, I asked the director, I said, please let me do this. And they said, can you sing it? And I said, yeah, I can sing it. So we just, when you wish upon a star, and I loved it. It was like such a beautiful scene, but
that scene is great. That's crazy.
It grounds it. For once he's not an idiot, and you can see her, you can at least believe that she's like, I love this guy. She felt his passion. She felt the connectivity to him, to space, to their combined sort of passion for something. Yeah. So I was really happy with.
One of the best lines is when you go, not the hairy one, and she covers herself up.
Yeah.
And she goes,
Was there anything you suggested that they were like, no? Like, was anything that you brought up that they were like, no, we're just not going to do this? And when that happens, and it's such a big thing, I mean, it's a Disney movie. How do you not let that shake your confidence to keep suggesting and going forward?
Well, actually, I asked them to cut something that I didn't like, which looking back, later now, I sort of wish I didn't, but I sort of wish I did. Craig and Greg wrote a scene where when we were in space, someone forgot to flush, and that we were going to have a floating log of poo floating around in the spaceship. But I was a very clean comic, and I wanted this movie to be very clean, not one swear word. And I felt like that was a bit too on the dirty side, and it had already been sort of done in Caddyshack. So with the chocolate bar in the pool.
In the pool, yeah.
So
and you had the fart.
Yeah, the fart was funny enough, so I cut that thing. But we did shoot a number of scenes that didn't make it. I had a scene in the bar where I'm sitting with Jeff Bridges. There's Bo Bridges was the big astronaut guy that gave me the coin.
Oh, Bud.
Yeah, so I did a whole scene with him where we're sitting in the bar and I'm talking about how excited I am, and I start doing like Wookiee noises right in his face, like, and I'm doing all this, and he's just sitting there like, so we lost that. And then there was another scene where I was actually up. They had some old spaceships out in the parking lot at NASA, and we had a scene where I forget what it was, but I said, let me go up there and there'll be pigeons on top. And I did like I did a whole pigeon walk, and I'm sure it was funny, but they cut it. We couldn't put everything in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, they let me, they let me do almost everything that I asked.
So cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
What was the monkey like?
Well, before I get to that, I'm glad you mentioned the fun is my Chinese neighbor's middle name.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a joke I wrote that I think that was one of the jokes that convinced them. When they saw that joke, when I did my first rewrite, they were howling and they just went, Harland's, he can write funny stuff. Because, I was just, it's like every little thing, every line I was trying to find an answer. And in the script, it just said, that other astronaut, when I get off the twirling thing, it was my turn. He goes, have fun. And I thought, well, what's Fred's reaction? And he goes, well, fun is my Chinese neighbor's middle name. And, and so
what did they originally have it as?
It just
have
said
fun.
have fun, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I said, well,
that's so brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's so good.
But anyways, back to your other question. It was
about the monkey.
Oh, the monkey. So the monkey was amazing. I had to go. It was a real chimp, obviously. I had to go and meet the monkey before. I think technically they're apes, right? They're not monkeys. Chimpanzees and gorillas.
Ape.
So I had to go. I had to go and meet it because I was going to be working with it. So I had to go up to the farm where they kept all the animals, and I had to go in and meet them. And they brought me into the room, and the trainer was sitting there with Ulysses, and I had to go sit across from him, and we just sort of had to feel each other. And I'm just sitting there, we're checking each other out, and it was amazing that the trainer said his real name was Raven. In the movie, he was Ulysses. He goes, Raven, go to the fridge and get your apple. And this chimp stood up, ran to the fridge, opened it, grabbed an apple, came back, sat down, and he went to eat. He goes, don't eat it yet. Okay, now eat it. And what happened, they told me, is with chimpanzees, if you don't monitor every single action, like if he just let him bite it without him telling to, in the chimp's mind, they go, oh, I got away with it. What's the next thing?
Whoa.
So they figured out
Your
that
face is the next
they
thing.
have to, rip your face out. They figured out that you have to dominate them for every single action, because the minute they slip one by, it in their mind, it just escalates, and then they're out of control. Yeah. So he was, and then eventually he sent him across to see me, and I held him. And
Were you scared at all?
I was a little nervous because I've never done it, and they're very charming and endearing, but they're also powerful animals.
Yeah.
Now, Raven wasn't a full-grown one. He was about
cute.
3 years old. I think
Oh,
the
he's a
big
baby. I
ones
knew
are.
he was a baby.
Yeah,
when he's in his little astronaut
Oh,
suit.
when he's in the suit. He wasn't really in the suit. That was a child.
Well, here's something you'll like. So he was in the whole movie, but then when we went out onto Mars, walking around together, you couldn't put the helmet on him because it freaked them out. It
Of
was
course.
just like that was too foreign for them.
Jordan's the same way.
Yeah, me too.
Jordan's the same way with a helmet.
Yeah.
God.
I need to wear one, but the doctor says you have to wear one, but I won't do it because it makes me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cecil B. DeMille. Whatever that means. Wow. It's just, that name seemed to fit when you did that. I don't know why.
Jordan, can you grab me the coffee real quick, please?
That's your coffee.
I was going to treat you like an ape.
Oh.
Don't drink it.
Yeah. But yes, so what happened is, this is some cool trivia. When we shot the scenes out on Mars, where I'm walking around with Ulysses, guess who's in we got a monkey suit. Guess who's in there?
Who?
You mentioned it earlier. You both did.
Macaulay Culkin? Wait. Well,
A shaved Macaulay Culkin. No, you were talking about Austin Powers. It was Mini-Me.
No way,
Mini-Me?
Vern
Yeah,
Troyer?
Vern Troyer was the
Really?
monkey in Rocketman. Yeah.
Oh my
holy
God.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, he was on
I
set the
knew
whole
he was
time.
so
Wow.
Just a
cute.
tiny little guy who was
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, he was the nicest
Wow.
little guy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And,
He's little though. Wasn't he
was little,
smaller
yeah.
than the monkey?
he was about the same size as
Yeah, that makes
the
sense.
monkey.
Wow. Did you have to alpha dog him as well?
Yeah.
me
Vern,
the
get
apple.
the apple.
Vern, don't eat the apple yet, Vern.
That's crazy.
Put down the Arby's. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Where did you film Mars? Where was it?
In
Was that
Moab, Utah.
Wow,
It's a,
okay.
I
it's
told
a
you. I
park.
said that. That was my guess.
Yeah.
It
Was
was
it?
Red Rocks or was
It's Moab.
say Utah?
It's a national park called Moab, where they have the natural rock
Yeah.
arches, and
Wait,
it's
what's
stunning.
what's the valley? What's the big park there that I went to where all the Arches, Utah, Arches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. It's in Moab.
Yeah, yeah,
Moab,
yeah.
and it was stunning. Yeah, but it was
That place rules.
really cool. Yeah, me and the other cast members, we'd go out at night and walk through the park and look
Oh,
at all the
wow.
stars, and we're like, we got to see a UFO. We're shooting Rocket Man. We were
yeah.
praying we'd see one, but it was really a magical spot. And it was great about Rocket Man. In those days, it was still under the umbrella of when movies were real.
Mm.
And so I talked about Wingman being 15 days. We had 3 months to shoot Rocket Man.
Wow.
And with Wingman, I told you we'd go to 4 locations a
Yeah.
day and shoot 12 to 13, 15 pages a day.
Mm-hmm.
On Wingman, it was common, or on Rocket Man, it was common to shoot 1, maybe 2 pages a day. Like they just took their time. It was, and you could feel the money and the props and the sets, and like 3 months to shoot this movie.
Wow.
And,
Why do you
it
think
was-
it's changed?
It's just come down to money and time. And I think they sort of realized, I think when Jurassic Park came out and the T-Rex came out, and it just, everyone was in awe. and it was like such a spectacle. And people thought, well, that made a lot of money. We got to do that, but we don't have the budget. But if we do something that's sort of half-assed, like it's still a moving T-Rex, but it doesn't look perfect. And so a bunch of people started, and people were like, you know what? It's good enough. It's still I'm still scared. I still feel the presence of a T. It looks more like a giant Cocker Spaniel, but I get it. I feel it. And I think that sent a ripple through the whole industry where they went, you know what? If we just give them enough, we can do these a lot faster and we can pay people less. And now what took 3 months, let's do it in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And we don't have to have the perfect Tyrannosaurus Rex, but if we give them something that sort of looks and sounds like
Just
it,
make the water shake. That's
yeah,
good.
it'll work. You know?
You said when I was at your house asking about this, you were like, eventually every like film student got a camera and they were creating movies. So it was like every person was putting out a movie. So then what happened is like the studio is like, this year our movie is Rocketman. And now it's like, this year our movie is 40 movies. Is it just like they allot smaller amounts of money to many more movies?
No, I still don't think they put out that many movies, but they've figured out a way to maximize their profits and sort of minimize the effort,
quality and effort
outside of things like Avatar. And like there's some like the Marvel movies where they're just going, we got to go full blown. But I think even there because a few of these bigger movies now are starting to not be as profitable. I think people are kind of a bit over them. And so I think you're going to see those start to scale down too. But it's all about sort of turning a profit now. Movies used to be sort of special, and now they're sort of just a product now.
Yeah.
And I think streaming and all that stuff has just made them more like, fast food. What's this week? And okay, they don't get the $8 million T-Rex, but they'll be happy enough with the $2 million T-Rex, you know? So it's a bit.
How many different phrases do you say on Mars? Like, you're the first person to be angry on Mars. You're the first person to...
I'm the first person to walk backwards on Mars. You're the first person to show inappropriate anger on Mars. I think there was a whole bunch. And I got to improvise a lot of those. And
oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And the fart scene, I was just telling someone this the other day. They asked about it, but there's the scene where I fart into
it goes through the tube, and then your suit gets all big.
Yeah, and the lighting guy, they fired our lighting guy about a week in for some reason, or 2 weeks in, and I honestly I think he was going too fast. It was a case of this guy would set up the lights in 40 minutes, and he's like, okay, we're ready to shoot, and I think they're like, oh, we're gonna be done and I think they fired the guy who was doing a great job, and they brought in the lighting guy who did lights on the original Blade Runner with Ridley Scott.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
So now this guy came in and he sort of brought with him
a vibe.
Yeah, a bit of, his ego. And he wasn't a bad guy. He was a great guy, but he was like, I'm the lighting guy. And there were days, I remember there was one day he spent 8 hours lighting a room. And it actually got to the point where I was like, dude, you're lighting a room. And I respect his art and his ability, but anyways, one day he started sort of calling the shots to a degree, like even sort of pushing the director around a little bit, which I didn't like, but I wasn't going to say anything. And we went out and shot the scene on Mars. If you watch the movie, we have our face shields on the helmets. And for the up close of the fart scene, the lighting guy goes, I'm getting a glare on the face shield. Let's take them off and we'll CGI them in. Well, this was sort of the very beginning of CGI where it was expensive as hell and nobody really knew how to do it. So if you watch the movie back, you'll notice we're on Mars, and in that scene we have no face shield.
Yeah, you can see your faces.
Yeah, I mean, well, you could see them through the other one, but it was through the plastic. But now they're completely gone if you watch it. And you sort of can't tell because you're already invested in it. But if you were look at it now, you'd go, oh, they got how are they alive? Like,
whoa, I want to see it. So it wasn't like, it didn't look like that you had taken them off. It just was literally not
gone.
there.
It was completely gone.
It's like it's like those illusions where you're brain draws the rest of the circle.
Right.
In. Wow.
It's like a lot of movies too, like car scenes. A lot of time they'll take the front windshield out to shoot into the front of the car.
Oh, okay.
But this was like blatant. Like you could see it.
The fart would not be having an impact.
Yeah.
So the fart would come right out of your face.
they never did any special effects. I don't think they could afford it, or they just decided we don't want to, or
well, that was like one of the biggest special effects in the movie was filling up that suit with air.
Yeah.
And then the air going through the tube.
Yeah, they actually made a second suit for that.
Really?
Yeah, they made a second suit where I was a bit bummed too because it didn't fill up the way I wanted it. It sort of fills up, but it's a little clunky.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, I said, I want it to be like the girl in Willy Wonka, the
right,
blueberry.
Yeah, the blueberry. Yeah.
I just wanted this big round, and it sort of looked a little bit of half-assed. It still looked funny, but I wanted it to be way bigger.
The part where you're like, wow, I shouldn't have had that liverwurst and what was it?
That was right after the spin thing. Yeah, that was another line I wrote because I was like, I want that guy to be sick.
Yeah, you made him puke.
You're saying about your breakfast. You're saying about what you ate.
Yeah.
You were like, you're just saying it near his face. Like, I shouldn't have that liverwurst.
I should have that liverwurst and sardine sandwich.
And you go.
Yeah. I just looked for every opportunity to write in a joke. Like I wanted to be laugh. That's like Austin Powers. It's just laugh. Like it's a comedy. Let's go. So even for Wingman, I tried to layer in joke after joke after joke. Like, come on, there's so many comedies now where you leave a comedy and you go, wow, I had two or three really good laughs. And I'm like, no, like Austin Powers, Ace Ventura, you have like 40, 50, 60 laughs. Like,
it's constant.
That's what I think a real solid comedy is. And like the Naked Gun movies or Airplane, like, it's just you're laughing. It's a comedy. Like, and I think a lot of these comedies like sort of have lost that recipe.
Well, there hasn't been a super like really good comedy, classic joke comedy in a very long time.
Yeah.
They always have like stories to tell. But
I think the last one there was one right after this one that I forget, but Bridesmaids.
Oh, great.
I watched that and I was like, this is old
Bridesmaids,
school comedy.
Blockers
I was dying.
was really good.
Poopy.
I thought Blockers was good.
With
John Cena, Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, that whole era of
that was
Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, those were like movie after movie. But there have been few and far between with classic. I thought Ricky Stenicki, Farrelly Brothers movie, Peter Farrelly, with Santino, Jermaine Fowler, and again, John Cena. I thought that was really great. Just a funny, like beat by beat comedy. And Blockers, I thought was so funny. But it's hard to name. Like I can't think of a good comedy film that came out in the past.
It's tough. Well, that's what I liked about those is they took real scenarios. Like even though they make them wacky, but Bridesmaids is a real world. Wedding Crashers could be a real world. And so it's like saying you take that environment and then just find all the funny and you believe you're there, but it's also hilarious. So
one of my favorite comedies that I watched obsessively, like I had it memorized front to back. You're In. That's how you're etched in my.
Which one?
Which is Whole 9 Yards.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yeah,
that movie. Me and my sister could recite the whole thing.
Wow,
We're obsessed with it.
Yeah, that was
it was
fun.
so good. You were so. It's so. Have you seen that with Bruce Willis?
I've never seen Whole 9 Yards.
It's so. You know how
I need to see it.
The Birdcage. Have you seen the Birdcage? You've seen the Birdcage.
Yeah.
The Birdcage. Whatever that genre my family was really into, where there was like a little bit of serious, but then so much comedy. Like it felt like the boys were all super into like we love Dumb and Dumber, but the ones that we were obsessed with, the ones that would have, because we're girls, so we're like, we need a serious arc.
Yeah,
Whole 9 Yards, dude. So
it
fucking
was.
good.
Oh, that was a blast. Holy smokes.
You die in it.
Well, I get shot by Bruce, which was really cool.
How do you do that? How do you get shot and make it look believable on film?
It was a really cool scene because it's late at night. We're at a house. Bruce is a criminal. He's holed up in this house in the suburbs. He's got Amanda Peet, and I play a cop, an undercover cop, and I'm sneaking up to the house, and Amanda, they know I'm coming somehow.
Perfect boobs.
And Amanda Pete
Incredible
sticks out
boobs.
of the top window with no top on.
Insane.
Do you see your boobs?
Yeah, and she goes, "Hey," and I look up, and
She's
as
like,
I'm
"Hey," she's
looking
so
at her
cute.
boobs, Bruce just walks out, boom, 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 pops me like 9 times, and I'm just like, boom, boom, and he kills me, and I was
Yeah.
like, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
No better way to die than seeing a
Matthew
good set of
Perry's
knockers.
so
Yeah.
good in that.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was really cool. Yeah.
What's
Oh.
your favorite
awesome.
comedy of all time?
Oh my gosh.
Or top 3?
You know, there's a really obscure one by a Parisian writer, actor, director named Jacques Tati. And he did a movie called Monsieur Hulot's Holiday. And it's an old black and white movie that I would recommend people watch. It's not going to be knock you over the head, but it's one of these subtle movies you watch it over and over, and it's one of those rare movies that really transports you there.
Mm.
And it's such a simple premise. It starts with the ocean waves coming in, and this chyron comes up. It says, "Do not look for a plot, for a holiday is meant just for fun."
Mm.
And you see Mr. Hulot's car driving through the fields in the south of France, and he comes to a little coastal town where it's a bunch of tourists at this one hotel, and just like Pink Panther, Peter Sellers, or Austin Powers, or he's this guy. They're just all having their nice little holiday, and this guy, they're sitting in the lounge playing cards, and the moment he gets there, he opens the door and just walks to the front desk, and without knowing it, the wind comes in and blows their cards everywhere. So the second he arrives,
He's causing havoc.
he inadvertently has no
Yeah.
idea that he's causing all that trouble. And by the way, there's a tribute to him in Rocketman that I did.
Oh, wow.
Really? Which
Yep.
part?
So his car, Monsieur Hulot's car, is an old, I think they were called Peugeots. It's a little
yeah.
French car that he drives into town. And the minute he drives into town, as soon as he gets near, it backfires.
Mm-hmm.
So right at like the second, and he's oblivious to how he turns everyone's life. And that's sort of what I channeled a bit with Rocketman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fred had no idea he caused all this. But what I did when we wrote the script, I said, when Fred drives in, will you get me a Peugeot? Will you get me a French car?
Yeah.
And so he drives that little car in, and then I choreographed the whole thing. I said, let's have him stuck so he has to
Yeah.
pop
Yeah,
up
yeah,
through the
yeah.
roof and bounce out. And then I said, instead of having a car alarm, Fred's the kind of guy, every day he would take his
Oh,
wheel
the
off.
anti-theft device, and then you
Yeah.
see the wheel rolling
Yeah.
down. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And I said, let's roll it through. And then Fred will just be like, hey, Ling Chong Wow. And hey, like he knows everyone in there, the factory workers. So instead of having like a car alarm, he just took a wheel. But that car was an exact tribute to Jacques Tati
Wow.
from
You could just say, I
Oh,
want
that's
that
cool.
car, and Disney was like, we got
that's
it.
what I mean. Like everything I asked
Wow.
for,
that car was so sick.
they facilitated it. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like back, I got in just under the finish line of when movies were like
Mm-hmm.
really movies. I mean, they flew me there in a private jet. They got me like a little mansion to live in. They got me a Land Rover. And at that time, cell phones were a new thing. They
wow.
I was just like this, like I had the real total movie star treatment and a real movie.
How
and
old
I've
were
done a
you?
lot of, I was about 35 or 36.
Oh, so
Wow.
fun.
It was
That's
just,
so
it was
cool.
so magical. And then on top of it, for them to let me put my imprint on the
Mhm.
movie, oddly enough, it's a movie that sadly they sort of buried. It's a movie that's hard to find and
Mhm.
hard to see.
Why is that?
Because it has a cult following.
It has, but I think it has a bit of a cult following because I think they tried to bury it, which is sad because it's a very wholesome movie.
It is, yeah.
But my guess is there's a scene in the movie that I wrote, again adding to, where they're up in space and they get a call from the president, and the president
looks
wants
just
to
like Bill
talk
Clinton.
to all the astronauts. And when he gets to me, he goes, "What do you think, Fred?" And I go, I'm looking out the window and Earth looks like a little blueberry. And then I start singing, "You've got the whole world." And then because it's the globe, I go,
Yeah.
"Now the French, je
Yeah.
suis le papillon." And I
Yeah.
just start making up words.
Yeah.
And then I go, and
Chinese.
now the,
The
Chinese.
Chinese.
And then I just, like in the old Jerry Lewis movies, like ta-tung, ta-tung,
Yeah,
chow,
yeah,
tung.
yeah.
the best part.
And it was
So
really
good.
funny, but I really think they're so sensitive, and I'm just speculating, but I think that might have been the thing that maybe killed it. And if it wasn't that, then there was someone at Disney that just said, I hate Harland. Because they really buried the movie even during DVD time. It was you couldn't find it.
It wasn't in theaters?
It was in theaters, but what happened is George of the Jungle and Rocketman came out that same year.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this, but October is the death zone for movies. Traditionally, if you chart movies, if you went in and did the analysis like the way baseball guys do, October is death month. Most movies in October, just for whatever reason, it's the dead zone. They all eat it. I didn't even know this. And summer's like the golden zone. So Rocketman was initially scheduled to come out in the summer, which is perfect because it's a high concept comedy. And what they did about 7 months before, they swapped it and they put George of the Jungle in the summer and they dropped Rocketman in October.
Why'd they do that?
These are the things I don't know.
Yeah.
But, and again, no offense to the people, but I think George of the Jungle was not a good movie. It wasn't on the page, and I don't think it was executed well. I love Brendan
The weird
Fraser.
thing is he knew about Rocketman. I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
But I was forced to watch George of the Jungle. I mean, we went to the theaters.
Yeah.
I did the whole thing, and I did not know about.
But the thing.
But did you find out about it as a kid or later?
As a kid and then later, and I have that DVD signed by you, and it's in my apartment. And when you walk in, if you look to the right, it's like the first thing you see. And I can't tell you how many people walk in,
cool.
and they are just just moth to a flame. Rocketman, I love that movie. I saw it as a kid. I saw it so many times. Like it is such.
No, people are obsessed.
People
with it. Anytime we have to talk about
that
pod, he's
love
like,
it
Rocketman.
are obsessed with it. Yeah.
But how did that happen? Because like, how did you find out about it? Like the boys you were around were watching it.
I guess I don't even know. Like we would have a thing called video game night as kids, and we'd all stay at someone's house and play video games at night, and then we'd watch movies and eat like Doritos and like soda. And it was just one of the movies we put on. I don't know how, but it just became a part of.
Cause I think they just pick somebody and pump them. Like I think
it's
they
like,
were
you
just
know how like
Brendan Fraser.
during the internet,
you know what I mean?
Before the internet, we didn't have the internet, but everybody heard that rumor that Marilyn Manson took a rib out to suck his own dick. I think that's kind of like Rocketman.
Yeah.
It all just floated into our conscience. We don't know how.
I don't know if there was any plan or if it was done on purpose, but I do know that it was very difficult to get the movie.
Yeah.
It's so
afterwards.
frustrating.
Like, and even now, if you try to find it, I don't think it's on Disney Plus. They apparently all their movies are there, but Rocketman's not.
Get out of here.
That's
How
not
did
there.
we watch it?
We pirated it.
Yeah.
We did pirate it. Wow.
That's so
That's what I mean.
crazy.
That's
It's
fucking
really
That's
weird.
insane.
And it makes me sad, but it also, in a way, it adds to the mystique of it. And I feel like when people do get through to it and find it, they really enjoy it. And one thing it really does, because people meet me after my shows at my comedy gigs, for some reason, it was a movie that really bonded a lot of fathers and sons and a lot of families. A lot of families come up to me and go, we watched this as a family. I watched this with my father. And that sort of really warms my
in
heart.
my mind's eye, feel and see. Do you remember the Disney VHSs that had and it was almost like a white case that you'd pop?
Yeah,
open
yeah.
and you'd hear that click.
Yeah.
I still hear and see that at my friend's house right now. Like, opening that. Yeah.
The thing that's frustrating is the George of the Jungle was like, at least for me, seeing it as a kid, I was like a fat little freak. And I remember watching that and it just being them naked, right? It was just Brendan
George,
Fraser.
he got all ripped. Like,
And
Brendan
she was
Fraser
so
got
hot.
ripped.
And I remember
Yeah.
just being like I remember being a kid and being like, I don't really want to watch that one because it made me feel so bad. But like Ace Ventura, for example, I was like, I'm like him.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fucking weird and make those faces. So if I had
Yeah.
seen Rocketman as a kid, I would have felt so, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like, she's in a fucking spacesuit the whole time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You're
yeah.
a freak that I would have identified with so much. And instead they're like, no, little girl, watch this white woman with
Yeah.
abs. And you're like, okay, I'll watch
I know,
it.
it's weird. So I don't know if they purposely buried it or somebody didn't like it or they're worried about something in it. But it's again, I made sure that the movie doesn't have a swear word. It's very wholesome, but
Yeah.
I wonder if they were
That's so
concerned about
strange.
the Chinese thing, which is you can't. when you're making like improvising voices for 7 different cultures
Yeah.
and improvising
It's so
German and
good.
French and
then
you can't go,
Africa.
well, we can't do Chinese.
You just speak
Yeah,
fluent
yeah, yeah.
Chinese. You
Yeah.
just start speaking it exactly how it is
Yeah,
spoken.
right?
Yeah, the
But
Germans
that's the thing.
are
You're
like-
including.
Including,
It's
yeah.
including.
And it's comedy. And
Yeah.
and that was the gist of that joke, is to make everyone laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you had the cut where you have all the Asian people going singing it with them.
yeah, you cut to people
Yeah. And there's
singing,
people in
yeah.
Africa, and like that's the thing. You're
Yeah.
talking to the entire world.
And that's the joke, which should bring everyone together, which is the
Mhm.
purpose. But again, I'm just speculating.
Right.
For all I know, it could just be like somebody at Disney forgot to click something and it never got out there.
We
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
find
just
out.
don't know. But
Yeah.
in a way, it makes it more fun because it's sort of like the hidden item on the menu.
Yeah.
And when people find it,
Easter
hopefully
egg.
they go, "This is delicious."
I mean, it
you know?
is people's faces light up when you bring up that movie,
Oh,
and
thank
it
you.
is a thing that stays with people because they watched it as a kid, and yeah, it's a kids movie, but I'm 40
We
and
were
I
nine.
appreciate it so much
Oh,
as an
thank
adult,
you.
especially someone that loves comedy. You can see that it's just such a great template for what a comedy should be.
Oh wow,
It's incredible,
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, I really, I'm a guy who thinks in terms of. I think a lot of people think in terms of what's tracking this week
Yeah.
Mhm.
and what's tracking for the next few months.
Yeah.
But whenever I try to do something artistic, I go, if someone pulled this off the shelf in 30 years, would it be impactful?
Yeah.
But the same way Jacques Tati's Monsieur Hulot's Holiday still tracked with me. Like I wanted this movie to really track if someone watched it today, 25 years, or maybe is it 30 years later now?
Yeah.
God.
You also
Yeah,
just your
97
brain
is
works
what?
in like funny cartoon. Like when you were at the cellar and that woman was chewing, and you were like, "Can you please stop chewing like a Galapagos turtle?" And I was like, "That's exactly what she was." She was like, "Ngung, ngung." It was so good. I would have been like, "Can you shut the fuck up?" You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would have gone immediately edgy. Like, "Can you shut up? Can you stop fucking eating?" Like fat
Yeah.
shamed her, and you were like, "Can you please stop?" You said in the nicest way, "Could you please stop chewing like a Galapagos turtle?"
Tortoise.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is funny though that it almost like back to back was this wholesome, hilarious comedy Rocketman, and then you were in Half Baked,
Yeah.
which are they were kind of like
They were
back
opposite.
to back.
I didn't want to do
Yeah.
Half Baked.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a drug movie.
Yeah.
And I remember I was with Chappelle. We were shooting our HBO specials in San Francisco.
Mhm.
And someone presented from the publicity, showed me the first poster of Rocketman. And I was like, oh, and I was there with Chappelle. And I remember going, oh man, Rocketman, Half Baked. I was a little conflicted, but I learned to separate everything.
Yeah.
And ironically, as wholesome as Rocketman, I insisted it being, cut to now with another man movie, Wingman.
Yeah.
I always stay true to the character. It's not my journey; it's the journey of the character.
Mhm.
And so, this wingman who makes his living exploiting women and men,
Mhm.
I said this guy would see things through a very sort of bluer,
Yeah.
rougher, like prism. And so, it's a little scary for me to put this movie out because it is so edgy, but.
Mhm.
I'm doing it through the eye as I put Fred through this innocent prism.
Mhm.
The wingman's going through this really like I don't give a shit prism, and
Yeah.
so it's funny. It's sort of bookending different sides of what I've done as work, and
Yeah.
I just realized there's two Rocketman and Wingman. It's
That's
Yeah, yeah.
awesome.
yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Oh
but,
yeah.
That's exciting.
Well, you're the man.
Oh
Yeah.
wow,
Wingman,
The
Rocket
man.
Man, you are the man.
You're the man,
Reeser
the man.
Yeah.
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 The Reeser.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug anything?
When does this come out, if you don't mind me asking?
Next week.
Oh,
next
Next
Wednesday.
week.
wow.
Quick
Well, I
turnaround.
would say if you're in the Toronto area,
Yeah.
May 9th, we're doing our first sneak peek at Wingman at a beautiful theater in Toronto. You can go to harlandwilliams.com and get a ticket. And then the night before, I'm doing 2 comedy shows at the Royal Theater.
I love the
We're
Royal
calling
Theater.
it the
Cool.
Wingman Weekend.
Yes.
And Jamie Kennedy, who's also in Wingman, he's going to be there performing with me. So
Oh, great.
go on harlandwilliams.com and and get in on the Wingman action. You'll be the first to see it. And then also check out my podcast, The Harland Highway, which these two wonders have been on. And Jordan's
So
coming
fun.
back. Ian was
Yes.
just
I'm coming
on.
back.
Yes, I'll be in
I'm
town
coming
May
back.
11th to 16th.
Are we
If
doing
you're
another
around,
one, Guy?
I don't know.
Reach out.
Hey,
Don't be
all
a
right.
stranger.
Reach out and touch faith.
Yeah, but and then check my my stand-up comedy schedule at harlandwilliams.com. See if I'm coming to your town, and we'll see you at the movies. I'm hoping to shoot another movie in October, a whole new one that I wrote. So
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
it's gonna be
cool.
pretty wild. So
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any
Oh,
actors,
wow.
Yes.
do you know
We-
any?
We
I'm kidding.
yeah,
That was
Ethan
comedy. It
Ethan
was
really needs
comedy.
work.
You
Ethan doesn't make a lot of money. He really needs work.
Yeah.
If you could just help him out.
So yeah, but thank you for having me. And this-
always.
you
You're
know,
the
I
best.
just in closing, I you know, Rocketman's a bit obscure, and I don't often get interviewed about it. So it was kind of really neat to talk to you guys about it. So
Oh,
thank
cool.
you. Yeah,
Of course.
So awesome.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
thanks for
Memory
sharing
lane.
that with
Yeah,
us. That's
thank
really
you.
cool. People are
Appreciate
gonna love
it.
it, man.
Cool.
And
Punch Up Live. It's punchup.live/Jordan Jensen and Ian
Yes.
Fidance.
yes, ianfidance.com, patreon.com/beaniandpod. And we are on the road everywhere. Come out and see us. We appreciate it. Thanks for all the love, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, don't go yet. I'm still. Yeah. What was it we called it?
Reveling.
I'm reveling.
Yes.
Yeah.